Hey, yeah, we in the front row and it's so live.
Shout out to in the front row.
You'll see some of those highlights from Montrez and everyone throughout their
Baby,
journey.
front row the best.
Now we in the front row. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the show.
Appreciate you live and showing the world. Keeping going, Jermaine Jackson in the building.
Everybody's so hype. High school to the pros. Now we in the front row. Now we in the front row.
Back to the ship.
Now you in the front row.
How does it feel?
Good, you know.
Row when it's so live. Got the best view. VIP courtside. It's going down. Everybody's so hype. High school to the pros. Now we in the front row. Hey, thank you for tuning in to the show. Hey, now we ballin', homie. You already know. Hey, it's going down. Everybody's so hype. High school to the pros. Now we in the front row.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the In the Front Row YouTube channel. I'm your host, Dylan. I have a full panel of co-hosts today. Shireen, Calvin, and Fredo are all with me during this quarantine still, guys. We are going to talk a little bit of NFL today. We are excited the NFL returned this past weekend. I know we did a video about the Chiefs and Texans, but 13 games happened on Sunday and 2 games happened on Monday night. So we have a lot to talk to and get into about the NFL. Are you guys excited that the NFL is finally back?
Of course. You know, it's back in all its glory, you know, and you can hear the quarterback talk.
Yeah.
So that was really fun to listen to the play calls. And then the announcers were able to listen to the quarterback and then tell you what they were. Oh, he's switching up the play. Like a lot of times when they can't hear the quarterback, they don't know if they're switching up the play. So it was fun. I mean, it was fun Sunday night. It was fun. Thursday night was fun. Don't forget.
It was
Thursday night was fun. I lost to Calvin in my fantasy league.
I lost the
I told you it was going to happen,
That
Shane.
sealed the deal, Calvin.
Josh Jacobs, the man, the myth, the legend. I knew he was going to have a breakout. Gruden loves to run the ball, so that was a guarantee. So.
Guys, we have a lot to discuss. We're going to start locally here in Los Angeles with the Los Angeles Rams. They took on the Dallas Cowboys on Sunday Night Football on NBC, defeated the Cowboys 20-17. Calvin, we'll start with you. Your reaction to the Rams' opening week victory?
You know, it's one of those games where both sides felt really evenly matched. The Rams, obviously were without Todd Gurley for the first time in a couple of years. Gurley's now in Atlanta. And so it was, the thing I was really looking forward to was seeing how they were going to execute that running game. And they did a really, really good job between Cam Akers and I believe it was Malcolm Brown was their other running back. Just pounding the defensive line of the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys got a lot of pressure, which actually played well into the Rams' strength of then moving into play action. And so you saw a lot of the Rams leaning on their strength, whereas the Cowboys, you could really tell it was their first full game action, you know, under Mike McCarthy. There was a lot of things they did well. They definitely made Zeke a part of the offense early. They tried not to move away from him. But that was the biggest takeaway for me was just seeing the balance from the Rams offense.
Yeah, Shreem, we'll come to you. Your reaction to the Rams and Jared Goff getting the victory?
All right, so the Pac-12 is not playing right now, so I'm looking to all the Pac-12 players in the NFL, and he showed up, and SoFi Stadium's been christened with our first win. So I was impressed. You know, they didn't have a preseason, but I love Sean McVay, and he knows how to motivate his team, and I thought they did a fantastic job. And it's always fun beating the Dallas Cowboys.
It is America's team, supposedly. It did not go without.
Supposedly.
Yeah, it did. I mean, you either love them or you hate them.
Patriots aren't, but
Yeah.
Dallas is. Go figure.
It did not go without controversy at the end of the 20-17 win. An offensive pass interference called on Dallas would have put Dallas at the 15-yard line with either a tying field goal opportunity or the possibility to take the lead late in the fourth quarter. I'm sure you guys saw the highlight or were watching the game. Guys, was it pass interference? Did the referees make the correct call?
It's really hard to say that about when it comes to the Rams because, you know what happened. I'm not going to talk about it. Calvin, you can talk about it.
Calvin, the floor is yours.
You know, Jalen Ramsey's only been in LA for about 6 to 8 months, but he's really, really made himself at home with that acting job he did. Because if you really look at that replay, yes, was there a push off? Yeah, But was it negligible? Was it impactful? No. So, for me, it was a bad call, but, Dallas has, ended up on the wrong side of these bad calls over the years. And it's not that surprising, but, you got to overcome it sometimes. And Dallas put themselves in a position where they couldn't. You don't want to put the game in the hands of the refs, is what I'm trying to say. So
yeah, I hate that.
Yeah, it was definitely a controversial call. There was a push-off there. Technically, I agree with what people were saying. Technically, there was a push-off. Do you call it at the end of the game? That's the question. And it was something that, like you said, the Cowboys cannot go without controversy. It was something that possibly could have cost the Cowboys their Week 1 victory, but at the end of the day, the score is final 20-17. The Rams defeated the Cowboys. Stream, we'll come to you real quick before moving on to the next topic. I'm going to ask you a more friendlier question for the Rams, I guess. Well, I want your opinion on this. Do you think Jared Goff can be a franchise quarterback for the Rams?
He already is. He was in the Super Bowl. Maybe he blew it, but it was only his second or third year?
Mm-hmm.
Answer is yes.
Okay. I guess we will see moving forward. There were a few questionable decisions he made last night. I know he threw the interception late.
Every quarterback.
Yeah.
I mean, were you not watching the game last night with when Gronkowski couldn't even hit a field goal?
Yeah.
The guy, how many Super Bowl rings does he have?
Yeah.
He has an extra point and 3 field goals.
Yeah, let's just say
he makes mistakes.
Yeah, let's just say he has a lot to live up because he signed a huge contract here. And now we'll see. It's Week 1. We'll see moving forward. At least the job of a quarterback is to get you the win, right? And that's
and stay healthy.
Yep,
if he stays healthy, then he can get experience with his players, and I think that's half the problem right there.
Mm-hmm. He has a rushing game now. The Rams rushed the ball very well last night, so I think the balance could help him. We've seen with like you said, Todd Gurley was good. And I believe 2 years ago, he had a big NFL season, and last year
he was playing wide receiver and running back. He was
last year
no one knew what was wrong.
Yeah.
And I think because they had so much going with Todd Gurley and it didn't pan out last year, I think that's why they had the troubles they had.
Yep, he was dealing with injuries. We'll see now that he's a balanced running attack and receivers like Cooper Kupp the third too. I think he will be just okay. We are going to move on to another quarterback, I guess. Tom Brady had played his first game with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers after leaving New England after 20 seasons, and he had to take on an NFC contender in the Saints, where the Saints got better 30 years for 223. Guys, I'm gonna throw this to one of you.
They didn't play Gronk. He didn't throw to Gronk enough.
Are you concerned with Tom Brady after Week 1?
I'm not concerned, but he should have thrown to Gronk more. That's his go-to guy,
Mm-hmm.
And part of the problem is he has a new coach who might not get that. But that's what I wanted to see, and I hardly saw it. Plus, he's on my fantasy team.
She wants the point. She needs the point. Calvin, we'll come to you. Are you concerned with Tom Brady, or is it just 1 week?
No, I'm not concerned at all. Look, none of these guys were, and this goes for a lot of teams right now. Teams that had a first-year head coach, a brand-new head coach, or a brand-new starting quarterback went 2-7 this weekend. So that plays to the fact that they didn't have time in the offseason. This was not a normal offseason. Right now, we're seeing the mistakes that are being made are usually made in preseason game 1, preseason game 2. As far as I was concerned, I thought there was a lot of ugly football this weekend. I know I'm in the minority of it, but you saw a lot. I felt like you saw a lot more mental mistakes, a lot more just kind of boneheaded errors. You look at Vic Fangio last night, holding on to his timeouts until overtime. That didn't happen. So
what
coaches
are. So Denver coach didn't stop the clock. What?
Exactly.
What the heck? Everybody's screaming on Twitter, stop the clock, call a timeout. He had 3 timeouts.
Yeah. So what we're seeing with the Buccaneers is kind of the same thing we see in the NBA all the time when a new super team forms up. It usually takes them 3-4 weeks of a season to kind of meld. I mean, if you look at the Buccaneers, who they had a Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, LaShawn McCoy, Leonard Fournette. These are just so many additions in such a short period of time without any opportunity to meld and to really get this offense clicking on all cylinders. September is going to be a rough month for the Buccaneers. I wouldn't be surprised if they went 2-2 or even 1-3. They do get Carolina next week. Hopefully they can, turn that into a W. It seems like the kind of team you'd want to ease into. Starting against New Orleans Saints is really, really tough because unlike the Buccaneers, the Saints have all the continuity in the world. They didn't add a lot of pieces in the offseason. Their only major offensive add was Emmanuel Sanders. Outside of that team's almost identical to what it was last year. So this was a really tough matchup, and I thought the Buccaneers played well considering all the factors.
Yeah, Fred, I'll come to you in just a second. But I do want to say I understand the preseason point. That's a huge point, in my opinion. Teams did not have 4 games to warm up and kind of work out the kinks of their offense. My only concern for Tom Brady, and I said this way back when he first signed with the Buccaneers in the offseason, is I don't think the system matches up well. I think Bruce Arians is going to have to make adjustments on his end as well. I don't think he's kind of has a gun, throw down the field system. Tom Brady doesn't have the arm strength he had 21 years ago or 20 years ago when he first started in the National Football League. It's a different system. He has to throw more to outside receivers. He's still adjusting to that. So I think more than just Tom Brady making adjustments to the system, I think Bruce Arians also has to make some adjustments and tender around your quarterback. We've seen the Ravens do it with Lamar Jackson. John Harbaugh, the head coach there, has made a great system, bringing in different offensive coordinators to help Lamar Jackson out. And that's what you have to do. You have to tender to your quarterback, and that's where your team will excel. I still think Tom Brady is kind of past the cliff, and I unfortunately have to think that, or I have made that opinion clear. And I've also made it clear that I think the Patriots will win more games than the Buccaneers. It's going to be an interesting year for the Buccaneers.
Shout out to Cam Newton. That's my shout out this week.
Yeah, we're going to do this at the end.
Can you see what the difference is when you have an O-line protecting you and one that's not? He walked in unscathed into the end zone, and he's looking around like no one touched me.
Fredo, we'll come to you. Are you ready?
He's not ready.
He's not ready. We'll continue.
Go.
Oh, you ready? Okay. What was your initial thoughts about Tom Brady in Week 1? Are you concerned?
Hell yeah, I'm concerned, and everybody should be concerned because honestly, I said this before, and before he even went over to Tampa, we talked about this. I think Tom Brady's time is now finally over. I mean,
That's what I said.
He went against an older team. I mean, he had a young squad. He had a very good team. He went against the Saints. The Saints who have kind of been, kind of up there, but at the same time have not been able to really get over it because of my Minnesota Vikings getting in their way 2 times in 3 years. But Tom Brady just got to pack it up. I mean, it's just over. I said this from the beginning. The Buccaneers are not going to make the playoffs this year. They're not going to have a chance in making the playoffs this year. And, it's just going to go downhill from now. I mean, Tampa is playing who next week? Do you guys know?
Carolina.
Who?
Carolina, I believe.
Carolina? They might sneak a win in there. But they're still not going to make the playoffs. Tom Brady's just got to pack it up. That's all I got to say about Tom Brady.
Okay. Fredo and I are actually agreeing on something that's quite shocking. I said
shocking. Hey, you after today, you better start agreeing with me a lot more, Dylan.
I said
the tide has to turn, Fredo.
I said Tampa Bay should have kept Jameis Winston. I'm still a believer in that. He's a younger quarterback with arm strength that he fits Bruce Arians' system a lot better. He'll throw down the field. He's willing to take more risks than Tom Brady, and I'm still a believer in that. Guys, we're going to move on from the Buccaneers to quickly talk about the Ravens before we wrap the NFL recap up, or we're going to talk more about the Browns because the Ravens dominated the Browns 38-6. I know Calvin and I were talking about this in the NFL preview.
I'm not playing any Browns next week in my family.
Calvin, how high is the panic meter in Cleveland?
I don't think the panic meter should be set yet. Again, it's a new team with a new head coach. The big thing for Cleveland moving forward is just getting the offense going and getting Baker Mayfield going. If they start panicking now, that's going to be an issue. Now, I think they actually have the right head coach in Kevin Stefanski. I don't think that's the issue. I would have more questions about the quarterback situation with Baker Mayfield. I think that's where their limitations are. I think Cleveland also has the issue of having maybe too many weapons. And I think that's something you can have. If you have too many weapons, you're going to have issues as far as distributing the ball. You're going to feel pressure to hit certain guys in situations that doesn't necessarily call for it. And Baker Mayfield talked about that actually during his post-game interview, where he was saying, look, I can't force it to OBJ all the time. And that's going to create friction because Baker's probably right, but OBJ is not going to be happy hearing that either, because OBJ wants the ball. So that's the issue for Cleveland moving forward. They shouldn't panic yet. Baltimore is clearly a far superior team, and I would be concerned if I'm Cleveland, just because Pittsburgh with Big Ben look like a tough dog to beat out. This is not the Duck Hodges Mason Rudolph show of last year. If Big Ben stays healthy, Cleveland will be in trouble. But I still think that they could be 8-8, 9-7, optimistically 10-6, but that feels like a stretch at this point.
It definitely does. Cleveland, again, losing 38-6, I believe was the final score, to the Ravens, technically in a road game. Do we believe in Baker Mayfield in this set stream, Fredo?
I've never been a huge fan. I mean, isn't this the guy who went and put the isn't he the one who always rubs people's faces when he wins? Didn't he take the arrow and put it in the middle of the look? Yeah, I never have liked this kid. Sorry. I'm sure he's a great person, but I've never liked his persona. I don't know. He's just smug.
Fredo will come.
You know who I think needs to be quarterback in the NFL, and the guy's not even on a team right now. So anyway.
That is true. She's making that known. Fredo, do you believe in Baker Mayfield?
I mean, this is what his third year now, coming into his third year. I did believe in him at the very beginning. I mean, he was the top draft pick, and now looking at him, going through now, this is his third coach, I believe it is it, or is it second?
Yeah. I mean, the whole organization's a mess.
Mm-hmm.
I believe more in Marcus Mariota than I do Baker Mayfield.
I agree with you.
That's the guy I told you that's going to take the starting job, because the Oakland Raiders, Las Vegas Raiders, excuse me for that one, they're facing the Saints this upcoming week, so that's going to be a tough matchup for them. But Baker Mayfield really got to just step it up now, because he does a lot of talking and really does not get the chance to really back it up.
Yeah, see, you agree with me. He's just a big talker.
Hey, yeah, he is, but he got to start backing it up. That's the thing. And for his size as a quarterback, a lot of people want to compare him to Johnny Football and Johnny Manziel. And where is Johnny Football at now? He could have been right now maybe in his 7th, 8th year in the league, and been a superstar. But you look at where his career took off, and Baker Mayfield has the same kind of image, sort of, but not the same off the field.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing major drugs like.
Yeah, he's not. So that's why off the field he's kind of okay. Even though I remember before he got drafted, he was running away from the cops and they got tackled down by security guards.
Oh my gosh!
I remember that moment, and he still got drafted as a very high pick there in the NFL draft. But Baker Mayfield doesn't got that much time until people start really giving up on him. Hopefully this year he has a winning record, because if it's say a 6-10, I don't know, man. I don't know.
With Stefanski entering the building, though, the messaging from the Browns entirely, and this is why I believe in Stefanski, has changed. It's night and day. Baker doesn't talk. He hasn't talked all offseason, hasn't talked at all during, in the lead up to the season. You didn't hear anything from the Browns.
He's more serious.
Yeah, much more serious tone coming out of Browns camp, which tells me they probably talked to him when Stefanski got hired and basically said, look, all this garbage you're doing last season is not going to fly under this new regime. There's a new sheriff in town. So, if something, because, he called out the medical staff, he called out teammates, and did it in a way that wasn't necessarily productive. All that kind of stuff he could have said as a leader, being the franchise quarterback, but you don't say it to the media. You say it in-house. And I think what we've seen so far is Baker keeping that kind of stuff in-house. So that's just to advocate for Baker a little bit here. I still agree. This is a make or break season for him. If the Browns go 6-10, he's done. He's going to be the wandering backup. He's going to be Blake Bortles.
A lot
of quarterbacks get hurt during the season, so there's be plenty of rotation.
A lot of NFL headlines this past week, including Odell Beckham Jr. There's been trade rumors on the market if he wants to be moved from Cleveland. I don't think that's something we have to watch out for. Le'Veon Bell, also for the Jets, was placed on the IR this week after a hamstring injury. So the Jets still continuing to.
We're not even going to talk about Mike Ditka.
So.
Calling out the NFL players who are kneeling. saying that they should leave the country.
Oh, wow.
That happened today, just recently, just came out on Twitter. Yeah,
I think that
he said
happened
they should all leave the country.
That's another news item. Guys, remember, we're still waiting on Colin Kaepernick to get signed, too. So
Oh, my gosh.
that's a whole other show and a whole other topic.
Put Colin Kaepernick on the Browns.
We do. He's better than Baker Mayfield. We do have to wrap up this show, guys. And before the end of every show, Shereen, did you already do your shout out, or do you want to do another
I did my shout out.
Okay.
Cam Newton is the story of this weekend, and he showed he still has it. And I can't stand people who I did put down Baker Mayfield, but then from college I've been watching him, and for me it's about the personality and the person. And I know that that Cam is very I don't want to say flamboyant in a female way, but the way he dresses, and he's very much an extrovert. Yeah. And I love his style of play, and I love watching him play. And it just made my heart melt this weekend when he went and rushed those touchdowns. But I think he has to bring his players in. They were trying to celebrate with him, and he was just so happy that he was back that he didn't even recognize that his players were trying to celebrate with him. So Cam, be more of a team player. But I'm very happy for you, and it just proves, along with Carmelo Anthony, these people aren't washed up. So why are we getting rid of them and putting 18 and 19-year-olds in their jobs?
Calvin, do you have a shout out?
Absolutely, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, good Lord Almighty, the man looked rejuvenated. And as a Packers fan, and this is where only time I'm gonna let my bias show. I haven't seen Aaron Rodgers play a football game like that in about 3 or 4 years. I mean, we're going back to some injury-prone seasons prior to last year, and then new system last year. Second year in the Matt LaFleur system, and I mean, what else is there to say? 32 of 44 passing for 364 yards and 4 touchdowns. I haven't seen an A-Rod stat line like that in 4 or 5 years. So I'm really, really excited for the Packers. I still have concerns about the defense. Obviously, they got ran over by the 49ers in the NFC Championship game, and they still gave up 34 points to a Vikings team that, outside of their number one targets, lack a lot of depth offensively. I mean, it's Kyle Rudolph, Adam Thielen, and Dalvin Cook, and not much else. So, I'm still concerned defensively, but, shout out goes to A-Rod for just having a beautiful opening week game against the Vikings.
He's a bad man.
I can guess who Fredo's going to say.
Fredo, who's your shout out?
What was that?
Who's your
shout out for football?
Shout out for football. Well, shout out to the Chargers, man. They stepped up big late in the game. The Chargers got a big victory against the number 1 overall pick, Joe Burrow, who I said is not going to be somewhat of a good player, but kind of, showed me a little bit in that first week here. And, showed something very amazing. I thought he was actually going to get away with the win, but the kicker for the Cincinnati Bengals couldn't make the freaking 30-yard field goal. So there goes the first win for the LA Chargers. And just shout out to them, man. And Joshua Kelly, my guy from UCLA, man. That's about it.
All right, guys.
Russell Wilson?
What was that? Well, Russell Wilson
drafted a quarterback that scored the most points in our fantasy league.
Right. So, and that's why I drafted him number 1. It was either him. It was going to be either Watson. I forgot who else was available, but
and no one even picked Ben Roethlisberger for some reason.
Oh, I mean, look at that
waiver wire. If they hear this, don't say that. Guys, my
hey, real quick, Dylan. Do you need a Snicker?
Oh my gosh.
You know why? Because I just got a notification from ESPN Fantasy that told me, hey, you know what? Offer Dylan Schreiber a Snicker because he needs one.
I do. You sound right.
And honestly, that's what my
That's so funny. Did you play Fredo and I played Calvin this week?
I scored 142 points and still lost.
Hey, 145 is greater than 142.
No, but I can't believe Saquon Barkley had 6 yards.
Hey, that was awful. That was
my number 1 pick.
Week.
And he is anyway.
And by the way, I just started playing DraftKings and very little amounts of money, and I was playing in game and I won $15. You just pick right before the game, and at the end of the game, Brown was gonna receive from the quarterback for not Denver, who they were playing the Titans. Brown was going to, I forgot, it starts with a T. Anyway, if they had connected, I would have won a lot more money. So, so that's fun. So maybe we should do a DraftKings thing too.
Yeah, that's interesting. Well, I'm going to end with my shout out here, and then we'll wrap it up. I'm going to stay along the lines of Monday Night Football, but I'm going to move it to the broadcast booth. And I want to shout out Maria Taylor because she is killing it with ESPN and comments this past week. Really, again.
About what you wore?
Yes, about what.
Yeah, we never say anything about men. Why are we looking at?
That's what I'm saying. Men need to keep their mouths shut and keep it moving. She killed it on Monday Night Football. She continues to kill it on NBA Countdown and everything she does with ESPN and outside of that. But
you saw what I tweeted out, right?
I believe so, yeah.
You know, and no offense to my 3 co-hosts, but men have to figure out, do they have to have a woman with long legs, beautiful, dressing to the hilt or dressing sexy to listen to her about her opinions about sports or not? You know, you can't have it both ways. You can't say, okay, go dress sexy because you're not going to get a job at ESPN without it, and we won't listen to you. Mm-hmm. You can't have it both ways. And then when she does that, you call her out.
That's what I'm saying.
That's why we have our own show, so I can be on here because I don't have long legs.
Yeah,
but I have an opinion and I know my shit.
Yes,
so.
and tend to have an ego problem, I should say, and they just I don't understand the comments.
Just let people be people.
Yeah,
maybe we shouldn't.
She killed it on ESPN, so respect to her this week, guys. We're gonna have to wrap it up here for the football segment. The NFL, we're going to be talking about it all season long. So follow along on YouTube and subscribe to us and hit that notification bell so you find out everything that is going on and everything that we are talking about. Go ahead and follow us at In the Front Row LA on social media. We'll post there as well. And guys, thanks for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, yeah, we in the front row and it's so live. Got the best view, VIP courtside. Hey, it's going down, everybody so hype. High school to the pros, now we in the front row. Hey, hey, thank you for tuning in to the show. Hey, hey, now we ballin', homie, you already know. Hey, it's going down, everybody so hype. High school to the pros, now we in the front row. Hey, now we in the front row. Yeah.